Welcome, everyone. I am John Ryan of SportsMemo.com, and I'm joined by my co host, as always, on Tuesdays. That would be Jesse Schule, and you are watching the Daily Dime. It's NCAA basketball, bite my tongue. It's March Madness. Show that we're going to break down 3 games. Jesse's going to do 2. I'm going to do 1. These are all on the Tuesday card. Make sure you get over to SportsMemo.com as well and check out all the written content that the guys are putting up for the NCAA tournament, and it'll just make you a better, more astute handicapper if you do. Welcome to the show, Jesse. We're going to start with your play here with the St. Bonaventure Bonnies going up against the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado is a 4-point favorite here in this matchup. 33% of the bets are on the Bonnies. Not surprised there. They went 20-9 and obviously did not make the tournament. They're 11-17 and 1 against the spread, 2-6 against the spread on the road. Last 10 though, they finished strong, 8-2, 6-3-1 against the spread. You know, it makes me think of those Indiana Hoosiers who played pretty well down the stretch as well. They too had 20 wins, but they're in the playing game tonight. So I guess the Big Ten outweighed the Big East in that one. Colorado is 12-5 in their home games. The record's 21-11 straight up, 13-17-2. They finished strong as well, going 8-2 over the last 10, 7-3 against the spread. Take it away, Jesse, and tell us where to put our money.
Well, John, I've got my eye on the home team here. As you mentioned, Buffalo did win 8 of their last. The Colorado Buffaloes did win 8 of their last 10. And they won 4 of their last 5 home games. They did finish 4th in the Pac-12. Most notable, though, is they actually finished first in the Pac-12 in 3-point shooting percentage. We know how important that is to these games, and they were shooting 37% from beyond the arc this season. Second in the Pac-12 in free throw percentage, another key statistic here when you get into tournament play. And the Bonnies, not great as a road team, not quite as good as a 3-point shooting team. They only shoot 31.8% from beyond the arc. On the road, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 road games. The Bonnies average just 61.8 points per game on the road. The Buffaloes averaging 72.7 points per game at home. Colorado 7-3-1 against the spread in their last 11 as a favorite. I do like Colorado here to win and cover that 4-point spread.
I'm with you on that too, Jesse. I want to ask you a question. The question is, with Colorado and St. Bonaventure feeling that they probably should have been in the tournament, we look at the NIT sometimes for advantages with teams that are going to have a tremendous letdown, like the Oklahoma Sooners come to mind that are also playing tonight. Do you think any of these teams are in that position? And if so, which one do you think is going to be more, I don't want to say lethargic, but more hungover from the idea that they were going to be in the big tournament and now they're playing in the NIT?
Well, I mean, I don't know that either of these teams have too much to complain about, or either of these teams should have had too high of expectations of being in the tournament. So I think they're both right where they want to, or right where they should be, and I don't see a letdown for either team, really.
Okay, fair enough, and I join you with those Buffaloes. I think that is the right side. Let's move on to my game here. This is the Santa Clara team against Washington State. Washington State opened as a 2.5-point favorite, Jesse. They're now 3.5-point favorite with 65% of the interest being on the Washington State Cougars. Santa Clara comes in this game with a posted total of 151.5 points, and that line is still at 151. They went 21-11. 5-5 on the road. They are 19-12-1 overall for the season against the number. They went 6-4 against the number in those road games, and they finished very strong, 7-3 down the stretch, 8-2 against the spread. Conversely, Washington State went 5-5 the last 10 and 3-7 against the spread. So I kind of feel like we have a team here with Santa Clara that may be out to prove something. And when I say that, if you take away basically the 5 weeks that Santa Clara 6'9" Rankic I can't say those words, but with all due respect. He's a great player. He was sidelined from mid-November into December. You know what? Santa Clara might have been the fourth West Coast Conference qualifier to make it to the big dance. And I do believe that. And that conference actually may be getting better and better year after year now over the last 3 seasons. While it's interesting to note that the ACC has definitely regressed and regressed significantly this year. So I found that interesting, Jesse. So with him back in the action, I think the wrong team is actually favored here. I think Santa Clara wins this by as many as 5 or more points. Supporting that for my predictive models, I'm expecting Santa Clara to have kind of a field day with this Washington State Cougars defense. The models say that they will shoot 48% from the field or higher. There's a 75% probability they'll shoot 50% or better. And did you know Santa Clara is 7-1 straight up when they have made 48 to 55% of their shots in a game this season? And Washington State does not do well when a team shoots well against them. They went 1-8 this season when they have allowed that shooting percentage. So if we get that 75% area on the models to be correct, I think Santa Clara wins this game outright going away. All right, Jesse, let's move on to the third and final game. And this is a great matchup, in my opinion. This is a 12 versus 12. And first of all, what makes that great is everybody is focused on the 12s. And boy, oh boy, could Indiana or Wyoming upset St. Mary's in the first round? Well, I'll tell you what, the answer is yes. Based on my power ratings, I have Indiana almost as like a 1.5 point underdog against St. Mary's. Wyoming would be more of a 5 to 5.5 point underdog against St. Mary's, should that happen. First of all, Jesse, what team do you think is going to win this playing game tonight, and why?
Well, I don't know about win. I'm expecting it to be quite a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those wild finishes, buzzer beater style. And in that case, I'm going to go with the dog. I see the public is heavy on Indiana. It looks like at least 65% of the tickets are on the Hoosiers, and the Cowboys. They did struggle down the stretch. They lost five of their last 9 games. The Hoosiers also struggled down the stretch. I mean, they won a couple big games in the Big Ten tournament, but they did lose 8 of their last 12 games. Again, I'm looking at the free throw percentages. The Cowboys, one of the better teams in the Mountain West, shooting free throws. The Hoosiers, dead last in the Big Ten, under 70% free throw shooting. That could haunt them here in this game. The Cowboys, 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 neutral site games, 11-4 against the spread in their last 15 as an underdog. The Hoosiers did go to, as I mentioned, went to the Big Ten semifinal, but because of that, this will be their 3rd game in 5 nights. That's a situation they've struggled in. They're 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 when playing 3 games in 5 days. Indiana failed to cover for their last 5 NCAA tournament games. Both teams over their last 10 games have a point differential of 1 or less. That means they've scored roughly the same amount as they've conceded in their last 5 games, which is another indicator to me that this game could be close. And for that reason, I will take the points.
I don't blame you taking the points, and I like that side. And I was looking at some of the players in this matchup. I think one of the key matchups, Jesse, is the big guys. The Indiana has 6'9" power forward Trace Jackson Davis. He's averaging 18.1 points per game on the season. He'll be going up against Wyoming's Graham Ike, who is averaging 19.6 points per game this season. And Wyoming plays like a Big Ten school. Just because they're not in the Big Ten conference doesn't mean schools can't play that way, right? But they grind it, and I think what you'll see is Wyoming looking to try to wear down Indiana, which is kind of a flip of what Big Ten schools usually do to opponents that are outside their conference. But I do think here too the wrong team is favored. So for pizza money, I am very tempted to take Santa Clara and Wyoming, and just create a little money line parlay there, just in case our assessments are right.
I will say I like your play on Santa Clara as well. I did have them in last week's game against St. Mary's. I think they were a 5.5 point dog, losing by 5. So they came through for me, and I do like that play on Santa Clara as well.
Well, thanks very much, Jesse, for the support. But that will bring us to the conclusion of Tuesday, March 15th, 2022 Daily Dime Show. Be sure to come back tomorrow for our next edition of the Daily Dime. And always remember two things, folks, especially during March Madness. Bet with your head, never over it, and may all the wins be yours.